Hello, awesome viewers, welcome to 𝗙𝗍𝗧𝗧𝗏 Studio. Now, I'm quite sure everyone already knew that this figure, 𝗏𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗵𝗵, has just been released by JOYTOY. And as everyone who is a fan of Warhammer 40k universe, this guy is a big character. He is not just the Primarch of the Ultra Marines army, but he is also the current Lord Commander of the Imperium. He is a towering figure standing over 9 feet tall, with a pale skin, blue eyes, and long floating blonde hair. He is clad in the 𝗥𝗶𝗵𝗺𝗺𝗃𝗃 armor, and he has a sword from the Emperor, and it is said that it is able to cut through anything. And first we look at the packaging. Obviously, this box is really a big box because the figure is much bigger than the typical Space Marine size figure. If you compare to a Terminator Captain box, you can see that's how big it is. And also the box is much bigger and much more well finished. And also the box is a little bit like a gift box. As you can see, it is made of a thick paper board. This is like a Chinese mooncake box. If you go to grocery shop or Asian grocery shop, you understand what I mean. You pack the mooncakes, in this kind of boxes. And let's open it. So what they're trying to do is they want to show that this figure is unique, is expensive, and it is a deluxe version of it, right? And that's how it looks inside. It was packed like this, and they also give you a clear base. And this is just a standard size clear base anyway. It is much smaller than the figure itself anyway, so alright, and I'll put it aside. And it is covered by plastic wrap as well. And that's how the whole thing looks like. And usually if you look at figures made in China, they usually pack it like that. They always pack it like that, with things clearly laid out and with this flat foam piece. So the packaging make it looks more like a collector's item, which fair enough, this figure is a special character. First of all, I paid 180 Australian dollars for this figure. And it is roughly, equal to 150 US dollars or 950 Hong Kong dollars. And paying almost $1,000 Hong Kong dollars or 180 Australian dollars for this is actually quite expensive. And it has to be a very good figure, right? But you know what? After I open it, I kind of like move around the joints and have a look at it. Instantly, I'll tell you, I'm really, really disappointed with it straight away, right? If you look at it closely, do you notice the difference between that? And you see what happened here? What is going on here? And then I turn it around and look at the back. Look at that. It's kind of like, tilted that way, right? I'm just got really annoyed with it. And another thing, right, which I complain in 30% of my videos, right? This joint actually loose. You know what? I said this so many times in my videos. You know that I said it again and again. I'm quite sure everybody bored of what I'm saying, but this is what happened. These are just basic requirement of an action figure. Make sure thing doesn't come loose. Straight away, looking at this and the loose joint here, I can tell you straight away, this thing doesn't worth $180. As simple as that. Put it this way, right? Doesn't worth $180. I'll see if I can actually pull this out and reassemble it again and see what happened, right? So, I got really annoyed by it, and fuck, and put it back. You know what? I'll use super glue to put it back later. Anyway, very, very disappointed. This is ridiculous. What is going on here, right? Is this a Lego or what? I mean, these kind of issues shouldn't even be happening. It's not about luck or not, right? In a factory, they're supposed to do this basic stuff correctly, right? As simple as that. This is a very expensive figure. Just like me, right? I have a limited budget, right? If I buy something like this, I will expect that at least, the basic fundamental issues like this should not be there. You're not supposed to have, inconsistent issues, right? On each figures, which are the same figures, produced in the factory. So that means this is a quality issue. It's not about luck. First, let's have a look at the details, The details obviously are absolutely amazing, and the decoration are very, very nice. The edges are very well defined, which I really like. It got this really interesting purity seal, got a very big ultramarine U on it, and also script, you know, the letters here are all, you know, recessed detail. But on the right shoulder, Guillermin, right, it is just a print, so it is not a recessed detail, which I'm not too happy with. And the other shoulder looks really great. Look at the details, right, the eagle details here. And in the rear, you can see all the very nice details in the backpack, and you can see the Adeptus Mechanicus emblem. The reason why this emblem is there is, I believe, because Guillermin was in status for 10,000 years until he was finally revived by the Adeptus Mechanicus. So I think that is why, you know, this emblem is there. And it got this very nice, you know, soft plastic bullet straps, and all these are soft plastic as well, and it was really nicely detailed. In the elbow pad, you know, there is a little kind of like cable as well connect to it, and there's another cable here connect to it as well, and then you can see another cable which will link up to the chest here, right? So it looks really good. And I also noticed that one pipe, which is this pipe here, you see. Let me open this. Where does it go? Actually here. So you see, things are just unfinished, so I have to put it back here myself. The laurel wreath is a soft plastic piece, which is like that, you know, which is actually not attached to the helmet, which I really like. And then the headpiece is okay. The exhaust, I wish it got a little bit of, you know, black wash on it, but it's just a plain silver color. And this boulder here looks really good as well. The details is always amazing on JOYTOY figures, right? Very nice detail. And my favorite part is, you know, the legs. I think the legs are really nicely detailed with all this decoration, and I think they're very unique. My least favorite part is the pauldrons here, which is the left shoulder pad, simply because it is one big, you know, gold piece. But if you look closely on the finishes, there are no weathering on it, you know, like this is just a really plain kind of finish. And you can see the double acrylic doesn't really have any shading on it as well, any, you know, wash on it. So there are no brown wash on it. And even on this icon here, right, you see there's nothing on it. So this figure looks rather plain, no shading on it, you know, nothing on it. Yeah, no wash, nothing. And there's no black shading on the blue armor as well. So you see everything's plain, except they put a bit of brown wash on the U, you know, ultramarine U here. And there's a bit of there, bit of there. They did put highlighting on the laurel leaves, but they did a bit of weathering on the edges here. But, you know, a little bit there, but it's funny, like only a bit in pieces, right? But to be fair, it is very hard to put the shading on it. Consider you got all this like kind of like decoration, very fine detail here, right? How can you able to, you know, spray paint the black shading here? Which is very hard. Not impossible, but you know what? This thing will cost even more. But at least the shading, you know, should be done. So to me, this finish, although the whole thing looks good, right? All the colors are basically very plain. And now let's have a look at the accessories. And have a look at the accessories first. And obviously, this is the sword from the Emperor. When I first saw the preview photos from JOYTOY, instantly I don't like it because it looks like an ice cream is melting. I don't like it, you know, but the painting's alright. But I wish this fire shouldn't be, you know, attached together with the sword. Unlike the Great Knight Castellan Crow figure, you can see how the sword, you know, this, you know, smoking piece or burning piece can be detached from the sword. So I don't know why they're not doing that on this one. You know, consider, you know, this is such an expensive figure. If it is really a deluxe figure, then how come you don't provide that? I just don't get it. Also, it limited the way you pose the figure because it has to always point at the top direction because fire doesn't go down. It goes up, right? Unless you swing it, right? Then you swing it to the direction so the fire will follow that way, right? You see? So it doesn't make sense to hold like that. You have to hold like that. Whereas on this sword, right, I can either do it this side or that side. So I have a choice. But this one doesn't have any choice for you. And then you got this exchangeable hand on the left hand, and also a fist on the left hand as well. And then the hand of Dominion, you know, the power fist. And you can exchange the hand, and it is on a ball joint, and exchange with a fist, like that. And like that. Simple as that. It is on a ball joint, but you know, it doesn't move like a ball joint. You know, it's not multi-directional movement, and all you can do is just, you know, rotating it. That's it. Nothing more than that, right? And then lastly is the head. They wrap it in plastic wrap. All right. Looks very nice, and I'll put it in there, right? I think it looks better than photos actually. You know, this piece here can actually move as well, so it has a multi-point of movement. So it has 3 points of movement. One is this, up and down, and the second one is that, and the third one is the ball joint with the head together. So let's put that in there. Alright, done. Very easy to put it in, which is very good. And that is how it looks like. You can look down for sure, look down like that, and then you can look up as well. Alright. You know, the only thing that stops it from looking up further is because the head is hitting the back of this armor here, right? But otherwise, pretty good. Look at it. Looks really nice. And the detail of the head is amazing. Skin color is very, very good on this figure. It is actually the best, you know, of all the JOYTOY figures that I got so far. The skin color is not shiny. You know, you can see it despite got the light shining on it. It is not shiny at all. And the weathering on the skin looks really, really good, and the eyeball both looks in the same direction, which is good. And I really love the hair as well. You can see they got the highlighting, the lighter color on the raised edges. At the back, you know, there is a Hello Kitty ribbon. Anyway, and yeah, okay, looks pretty good. And then we have a look at the articulation. You know, the first thing to look at is the shoulder pad design. The first thing we look at is the paw joints, you know, the shoulder pad, obviously, you know, because, you know, in the JOYTOY YouTube channel, and they show the design on the shoulder pad. So what they did is they have a kind of like extension, so you can actually move it like that now. So that's good. So what you can do is you can move the shoulder pad down. So when it moves up like that, you see, it actually maximizes the range of movement, right, like that. If you put it here, then it blocks it from, you know, moving up. So I wish they have the same design across all the Space Marine figures, not just this one, right? But of course, you know, increase the cost again, you know, blah blah blah, and that is what happened. So that is actually a really good design on the articulation, and the pivot joint is very good as well. You can see the pivot joint there, and pivot joint there as well. Very nice. See the shoulder pad move down. It can, so that the hand can move out, you know, quite a lot, which is very good. Look at that. That's very good. The shoulder can move up as well, and it is slightly restricted by the strap here, so you can not move up a little bit more than that. So you can move 90 degrees, yep, like that, and move backwards is not an issue. And the other arm is good as well. You can turn 360, yep, okay. And you got the bicep swivel, and then you got a double elbow joint. You can turn almost 90 degrees. Luckily this piece is not blocked by the paw joint here, which is good. And the other arm is fine, and the hand is connected to the ball joint here. And then obviously, you know, the one I showed you before, I still haven't attached it yet, is the mid-torso ball joint here, like that, okay. And then put it back here. You know, you can move around like that, multi-directional, and yep, kind of tilt a bit as well. You cannot turn 360 degrees. There's a limitation here like that, you can see. But the waist joint here, but I think the waist joint can turn a bit as well. Not really, because there's a little armor piece here that blocks it, you see? It blocks it here. Block, no, okay. And so you cannot really move a lot, it's just 90 degrees. And the hip joint, you know, the leg can kick up very high, more than 90 degrees actually. And you got this swivel here, which is also restricted by the armor here. Okay, but I wish it can actually turn a bit more to that, to the back. So it was also limited here. See, it's actually blocked there as well. So you can't do much. And then you got the knee joint here. You know, if you pull down a little bit too much, you see this hydraulic thing, right? It's actually just came out. So you just have to keep it inside by not moving it too much, and you know, move the other joint instead to do the extra 90 degrees or something like that. Yeah. So you can do 90 degrees pretty good, but let's see if I can push it down a lot. Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. That's more than 90 degrees, but you know, this thing comes out. So yep. And lastly, the ankle. You can see the ankle. If this is at 90 degrees, L shape, right? It is like that, right? That's standing straight. But if I want to move down a little bit, I cannot really do that. It's actually very limited See, almost the same. It doesn't make a difference, but it can move up for sure. And my personal preference is, I always wish this can actually move down quite a lot. So what happens is, if I make a really interesting stand, if the legs need to stand out like that, right? I can actually move down, but look at it, I can't do that now. So I cannot do really good pose on it. And so that's why I don't like figures that cannot even move the foot down, right? So if I want to do that, right, I can't. But I can do that with this leg because it got this toe joint here, right? So if I want to really spread out the leg and stand up really nicely like that, right? It doesn't work, so I have to do it this way. So that is the thing I don't like about figures with the limited angle movement. It is very hard for me to judge, this figure in the conclusion. People like to hear what they want to hear. When I criticize it, people say, "Oh, you shouldn't criticize it. This figure, no matter what, still good." What do you mean by still good anyway? How do you determine it, right? Imagine if you buy a car and you may drive the car, the wheels fall off. So you think this is still okay? You don't expect by the car instantly wheels falling off. As simple as that. That's just common sense. I'm here to criticize the inconsistency of design and also the quality, right? Some people got just everything right, whereas the one I got here is have these issues, right? And this silly stuff only happened in JOYTOY, and the worst is it happened for almost 2 years by now. I have collected JOYTOY figures for 2 years. This kind of thing shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen on a figure which costs so much money. As simple as that. There's nothing sentimental or emotional about this figure. I make this comment based on a consumer, perspective. No matter what, I buy this and I don't expect silly things like that, to happen. As simple as that. That's just common sense. I'm quite sure to a lot of people, if the same crap happened to them, right, they're probably not going to say the same thing. Just want to say this to make sure everyone's happy. Honestly, I think the QC issues really turned me off straight away. That is why I'm so negative about this figure. Look, this figure is a good figure. If you don't have any of these issues, then it'll be fine. If you look at other reviews, they all say this is 10 out of 10 and stuff like that. If I ignore all the issues that I face in this figure, I would say this figure is at 8 out of 10. You can see this figure, for example, the sword can be better. The sculpt is good, but there are always silly, items. The letters for 𝗂𝗏𝗺 on the right shoulder can be sculpted, and also the weathering, can be applied on, the gold color as well. So on this figure, if you ask me, would you highly recommend it? If everything is right, if we get it nicely, everything is done right, if I don't get silly mistake like that, I will say yes. But because of a silly mistake, it is not good value for money anymore. So if you ask me whether it is worth getting, I will tell you, if you really into 40k, and you must have the top guy of Imperium, or like myself, like Ultramarines fan, then yes, you should get it. But for the money you're paying for this, but if you don't really need it, I'll suggest you to spend the money on something else. And unfortunately, despite what happened, I'll say yes, for me, I have to get it. Anyway, this is the end of this video. So thanks for watching this video, and please let me know what you think. I'm genuinely a little bit disappointed with this figure. Alright, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye for now.